And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you.
Have a safe and happy 4th of July as we commemorate the birth of our nation. A message from the staff of K98 Talk, the leader in Internet radio.
We will keep this promise to the American people. If you like your doctor, you will be able to keep your doctor, period. If you like your health care plan, you'll be able to keep your health care plan, period.
This is the most transparent administration in history. Not even a smidgen of corruption.
Fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. What difference at this point does it make?
If you got a business, you didn't build that.
Oh, welcome to the face. Welcome to the face of the new democracy. Don't expect us to admit a mistake. We're paying off election debts to those who will take. Attorney General's lying even while
It's time to hear the truth about America's biggest challenges. You're listening to America Off the Rails with your host, Rick Robinson.
All right, good evening, folks. This is Rick Robinson. I am the host of America Off the Rails. It is Thursday, July the 2nd, 2015, just a little bit past the hour of 6 here Central Time. Now, we are going to get right to the show today because I have a couple of guests that are already waiting in the wings. I have the hosts of Red Nation Radio, Red Nation Rising Radio, right here with me, Jared and Lou. Jared's actually going to come on, and we're going to spend the first part of the show talking about something that he advised me was going on with him during the middle of the night. I think it actually started out some point in the middle of the night last night. But before we get into that, guys, why don't you go ahead and give everybody a sneak peek of what you got coming up in the next hour, and then we'll actually get into the segment.
We've got Brad McQueen coming up from Cult of Common Core. He's the author of the book Cult of Common Core, and he is going to tell us about getting kicked out of the room because he said the wrong thing when they were going over the Common Core standards. It's going to be a really great story. Can't wait to hear it myself.
Wow, so definitely something to look forward to there. I've had some experience with Common Core myself. I was actually advised by one of my children's teachers that I should no longer teach them the way I do math because that's not how we do math anymore in this country. And I basically told the teacher where she could, never mind.
Here.
All right, so Jared, you actually contacted me through social media and advised me of something that was going on with you. I believe it started at some point yesterday. Why don't you kind of bring everybody up to speed on what caused all the big ruckus? Because I didn't tell you this yet, but I don't know if they identified themselves as somebody that was affiliated with one of the articles that you'd sent me, but they didn't do it from an official. They didn't send me any information from an official email address. But apparently, they did go back and listen to one of my shows long enough to get my email address because they actually started sending me hate mail about how I shouldn't run your show and blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. From the way they were talking, I'm pretty sure they were British, so I basically reminded them that in a few days we're going to be celebrating our independence from them and that they should go mind their own business. They haven't replied.
Oh, and I have their email address and lots of other information so we can compare notes and see if it's the same people. We've done our homework. Yeah, so last night I was going to bed. It was about midnight or so. And notification on my phone. And M.A. Grundy, a Red Nation Rising community member, shared something with me, and I was actually shocked. It was bizarre. It was my Facebook profile picture screenshotted with some comments next to it, and the original. It was an article in Yahoo News UK, and the original title was really offensive. They ended up changing the title. They took the picture out. They were deleting comments. So, I guess that's they basically this woman accused me of being a homophobe because I put the American flag over my profile picture on Facebook. And which a lot of people are doing. It's the 4th of July, and people were putting the rainbow flags over, so I don't think there's anything wrong with putting flags over a avatar. So I could read part of the. It's not a long article. I could read part of it.
Sure,
and
go ahead.
Fighting words. I mean, they're fighting words. Let's see. Okay.
Start with the subhead. The subhead for the article was, "This radio host has been promoting the tool on Facebook," which is a false statement in and of itself, and that was the subheader for the article.
Right, and that was right under my picture. Which, have you ever seen someone use a featured image on an article on a legitimate news site like Yahoo News with someone's Facebook picture with comments? So yeah, that was under the picture. The radio host has been promoting the tool on Facebook, which isn't true. She then describes the overlay so people know. So I'm going to skip down. Rightwingnews.com, which created one of the American flag tools, hasn't explicitly stated that it's meant as a counter to the rainbow celebrate pride avatars and oppose equal marriage. Many users seem to have been taking it that way. And I got a message from the owner of Right Wing News, John Hawkins, and he did put that out there to counter the rainbow pride overlay. Didn't she write, "It's kind of a stupid idea given that it is possible to both celebrate pride and be American. The backward, closed-minded thinking that goes along with the movement would be better represented by the Confederate flag. With July 4th coming up, many people will be celebrating their Americanness." Yeah, she put that in the Yahoo News article. "That's the perfect opportunity to reclaim the stars and stripes for the forces of good, which seems to be the aim of this particular American flag Facebook tool." She's a tool, okay?
Oh.
Yes.
So wait, just to make sure that I'm clear, because honestly, I had seen a couple of the flag things popping up here and there. I mean, nothing near like what I saw for the rainbow thing, which, for like the entire weekend, I kind of felt like there had been some sort of a breakout between a Confederate war reenacting group and some sort of an armed conflict with a Skittles factory, because it's like every time I turn around, there were Confederate flags and rainbows everywhere. But so, just so we're clear, somebody that actually was affiliated with a group said that they were putting that out to counter the whole rainbow movement, because I hadn't really heard anything about it one way or the other, and when I first saw the picture, I just assumed it was, because, I've seen a couple of people do it, and I asked somebody about it, and they're like, "No, I just did it for the 4th of July." So that's honestly my first thought when I started seeing all these flags pop up is, hey, it's almost the 4th of July. If it's good enough for the gay folks, why can't we celebrate American pride for at least a day without being slammed all over the place?
Yeah, the original tool, as far as we can go back, and it goes back beyond or before the actual SCOTUS ruling, or around the same time, the tool was created and promoted by someone for July the 4th, explicitly for that reason. Some people were sharing it with the comment, "Counter the rainbows" on your timeline or on your feed with an American flag, which I don't really even see a problem with that statement. But that statement was never made by Jared.
Well, no, well, let's be clear, though. The statement, "Counter the rainbows with an American flag," how is that? Even if you take that entire sentence at face value, how is even that statement a homophobic statement?
And that is a really good question.
I mean, so what? You know, we're not gay, so we get in trouble because, hey, I don't necessarily want to sport a rainbow flag because while I don't judge you, because I don't give a dang what you do in your own bedroom, I don't necessarily want a rainbow profile picture. But hey, it's almost the 4th of July, so let me put an American flag over my profile as an overlay, and all of a sudden, I'm a homophobe. I did
my own photo editing program. I didn't use anybody's program.
Well, yeah, yours is different than everybody else's. That's one of the first things I noticed is yours is like different than any of the other ones that I've seen. And like I said, I haven't even seen that many, so I don't know why there's all this flap about it.
And I'd like to say that, you know, we're speaking on Skype, and Jared's Skype avatar has been overlaid with an American flag for how long, Jared? Months. At least a month. This is not something Jared did to make a statement at all beyond something that he would normally do.
Well, I mean, Jared, I haven't known Jared as long as you have, Lou, but I do get the impression that he's a very patriotic person. I mean, why else would those of us that do what we do, some of us on a nightly basis, others on a weekly basis. Speaking of which, Stacy and I have been talking a little bit, Lou. I hear there's maybe something in the works, but we won't.
Yeah, we're teasing that. It's going to happen, Rick. But, yeah, Jared's one of the most open-minded, open-hearted people that I think I may have ever had the pleasure of working with, besides being a fabulous producer. But I know he's probably starting to blush right now. I don't want to embarrass him, but it's just, I think I was probably angrier than anybody was for a lot of reasons. But, I mean, if you can look at the solidarity among our group, just almost every one of our state accounts and our national account and a lot of our friends have added the overlay to the American flag overlay to their avatars for this reason, in solidarity with Jared. It's just such a ridiculous statement to say. And the irony of the article, it's filled with falsehoods. It misrepresents everything about the conversation and the interaction with Jared on Facebook. Everything that's presented about the article is totally unrelated to what was going on his Facebook page. And it basically, you know, here's this radio producer, and by the way, he's a homophobe. The article says that to you in the most yellowest way possible. Bad grammar, sorry, but this is yellow journalism. I've been talking about a new age of yellow journalism for probably a couple of years. This is it. We are there. This is the kind of thing that happens. Jared says, I've never seen someone's profile shot in a preview image on a blog. Neither have I. I've never seen this done before, and I can't believe they did it. I can't believe Yahoo and ABC Network allowed that.
I was a freelance writer for Yahoo. I mean, I drew a paycheck, and let me tell you, it's the most liberal arena you could walk into, and I believe that the reason I stopped writing there, that they didn't have anything for me, was after I wrote a Common Core article against Common Core, and a few of us conservatives were done. So I don't like the way they do things. I'd like to say, if Katie Solomon is listening, you're going after the wrong guy. I am not this hater that you're trying to make up in your little article. I'm not the one you want to demonize. Find someone that legitimately does not like gays and is vocal about it. You don't go after someone without having any facts. You can scour my social media, and you will not find a single thing. I do not. I am not homophobic, and I do not slander or verbally abuse anybody, really. I will take anybody on head-to-head on an argument about an issue, but I don't resort to name-calling. That's what liberals do. That's what you do, Katie Solomon. Are you listening? Keep trying to get me kicked off the radio. Just bring it. I know your IP address.
Jared, as long as you're here, she can't make you go anywhere. That's actually one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on air today, because I have a message from Miss Katie Solomon. Apparently you don't know Jared as well as you think you do, because I threw him a softball the last time we were on the air, which was right after this big ruling, Right after it, I gave him a whole hour to be as homophobic or as raging as he wanted to be, and I threw him a softball and asked him exactly how he felt about it. And you can go back and listen to the recording, because he specifically said, moral objections that I may have beside, I can't hold anybody else to those standards, and it's none of my business what they do in their bedroom. So to try to call this man a homophobe, not only did you get it wrong, as far as I'm concerned, you should no longer be able to call yourself a journalist. And as far as I'm concerned, Yahoo News UK should be asking for your resignation, ma'am. Or sir, because I'm not sure if you're male or female, and I don't care.
It's a ma'am. Or she presents herself as a female anyway. So, I mean, either
well,
she is,
this day and age, you really don't know, but...
Yeah, she's posing as one, so we're going to call her she, but I don't think she should have ever been allowed to call herself a journalist. Journalists do not write hyperbole. Creative writers might do that, so she cannot call herself a journalist, and she never should have.
I mean, everything I ever write, because I'm actually... I write myself. I'm actually one of the content editors for freepressok.com. But everything I ever write goes into the op-ed section because I don't consider myself a journalist. I'm a guy that gives you my opinions. I give you my opinions based on facts, and then I let you decide whether I'm crazy or not. But that's not journalism. That's basically just creative writing. So this person, male, female, I mean, she's presenting herself as female, so we'll assume that she is. But I can tell you that she's obviously not someone that I would care to do any business with, because, I mean, I haven't known Jared nearly as long as you have, Lou, but what I do know is that he is one of the most down-to-earth people I've ever met. He will basically do everything he can to help you in any way that he can. I mean, he's only been a part of this network now for about as long as you have, but every time I turn around, he's like, hey, if you need help with this, just let me know, or hey, if you want to do this, just let me know, and hey, let me show you how to do this. I mean, so to take something as minuscule as this, where it was basically somebody that said, hey, I want to show the world that I'm proud of my country, and to turn it into something that is either pro-gay, anti-gay, is asinine, because the simple fact of the matter is it didn't have anything to do with that. It had to do with the fact that we were a few days from celebrating our independence from Great Britain, so Yahoo News UK, why don't you take your hurt feelings and go back across the pond and suck it? Because it didn't have anything to do with homophobia. It had to do with the fact that Jared loves this country, which is why a lot of us do everything that we do every single day to ridicule, scorn, and a lot of folks looking at us like we're crazy because we give a damn. And that's honestly the only thing I can say about Jared is if you're going to say anything about the guy, you can't tell me that he does not give a damn, because he will do anything he can to help get a message out that he believes in and help support a group that he believes in. So he doesn't deserve this type of attack, and you don't deserve to have a platform anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And next time, do your homework and don't pick on, a group of friends that gathers a couple 100 million Twitter impressions a day.
I know, right? Dude, I am still really jealous about that, just for the record.
This isn't over. If she's going to be calling my contacts in different places, I think she writes for a tech magazine as well. She probably thinks she's elite. She's got another thing coming. She has no idea who she's dealing with, and that's not a threat. That's saying if you come into my domain, you're going to pay for it.
In the nicest way possible.
The nicest way possible. All she has to do is end it, because for what she wrote, there are some that would file suit against Yahoo.
Sorry, ad pop up. Go ahead.
There's people I know that would sue for libel on Yahoo, and let me tell you, the comments. There was only, out of all the comments, there was just a couple negative. 90% of them were positive, and they got 30 thumbs up, 40 thumbs up. People were just ripping into
150 thumbs up.
Yeah, they were ripping into this lady, and that probably made her butt hurt too. So she got butt hurt over 1776. She's wrote a crappy article. She got shredded on Twitter all day long on social media. Now she can cry in her coffee, or her tea, actually.
I was going to say, it's probably tea.
I love tea, but she can cry in it. It's the most ridiculous thing I think that I've ever seen to happen on Twitter live in real time or on Facebook or online, you know, and that brings up a good point. We talk a lot about Twitter bullying and Facebook bullying, and that's not the only way to bully people online. And as far as I'm concerned, Yahoo and ABC have a writer that is nothing but a bully. For whatever reason, she picked Jared out of the crowd and turned his image into something that was associated with a story that it should have never been associated with. And maybe our hashtag bothered her because it does get so many impressions. Maybe she knew exactly who she was dealing with. For whatever reasons she did this, they were all the wrong reasons, and she should pay for them, because this is not the kind of thing that you do in journalism, and it's online bullying as far as I'm concerned.
It is. It is online bullying.
All right, guys. Well, I know you've got another show to do, so I don't want to keep you hanging on unless you want to stay with me. But we are getting pretty close to the bottom half of the show, so at this point you can either hang out or you can bow out. It's entirely up to you two, because I know you're going to be on in about 30 minutes anyway.
I'm going to bail, Rick, and I appreciate you having me on, and your kind words, and
And your support
every day, because this country needs prayers. And I love my country. I love my flag. And if this person, I don't even care really what she thinks. I don't care what anybody thinks. I love my country. I love my flag. Leave me the hell alone.
That's basically
Amen
what
to
we're
that,
all
brother.
saying.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that basically our daily message when it comes to this type of stuff? Like the big flap up with the whole gay pride thing and everything else. Look, we love this country. We want to make this country great again. We basically just want you to leave us alone. We don't care what it is that you do. All we want is to not have it in front of us every 5 minutes. I mean, my wife had a similar situation, when it comes to the whole homosexuality thing. One of my nieces was with her at a pizza place. There were two women rubbing all over each other while they were waiting online at the pizza place. My niece is only 5 years old. That's not a conversation you want to have with your 5-year-old niece. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I'd ask a heterosexual or a homosexual couple to please stop.
Exactly.
Because I don't want to have that conversation with somebody that age either way.
All right. Well, at this point, guys, I'm going to go ahead and let you go, because I know you've only got about 30 minutes till you're going to be on with us again for the evening. And I do, again, want to say, Jared, no matter how they come at you, no matter how they come after you, as long as I have the ability to flip a switch and still be on the internet, you're going to have a home. So don't worry about that.
Thank you, brother.
All right, folks.
K98 Talk. We love it. Thank you, Rick.
Not a problem, guys. I'll be with you in the chat room here in a little bit when you go live.
Thanks, man.
Have a good night, folks. All right, so that's going to do it for this segment of the show. And again, I just want to give, I know at this point he's not listening, but I know some of you still are. And I want you to understand this is something that I would have said with him or without him here. Jared is probably one of the nicest guys I've met in the radio business. And I know folks say that about me. And I don't toot my own horn, so I'm not going to say anything about that. But what I am going to say, because it's something that I didn't do at the beginning of the show, because I wanted to get straight into their segment, I have a couple of announcements to make. Red State Radio has officially announced that they are going to start carrying America Off the Rails, the show that you're listening to right now, which means this show will now be available once a week on Sunday mornings at 6 a.m. So feel free to tune in then and there. Of course, we would prefer that if you are a regular listener to Richard, that you don't go over there. But if religious thing is not your thing and you don't want to listen to his show, then flip on over to mine. If nothing else, come back for the second hour, because on Sunday he does do 2 hours. Also, SHR Media, otherwise most of you know them as Sackhead Radio, that's actually the show that I do believe launched their network, is now airing some of K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network's content. This show will air there every day at 4 a.m. Pacific time. For those of you on Central, that is 6 o'clock. For those of you Eastern, that is 7 o'clock. Which now means, grand totaled, this show is now on every day, Monday through Friday, at 6 in the morning Central, 6 in the evening Central. It is on every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday through AMFM247.com at 12 Central, And now, thanks to Red State Radio, it is now also broadcast on Sunday mornings at noon Central. 6 Central in the morning. So, thanks to all of this syndication and success through those of you that have been listening on a regular basis, that follow us on Twitter, station and my personal account alike, I just want to give you a moment to please take a bow, because I do have an announcement. Starting next week, this station will be running official advertisers, and that is in part thanks to each and every one of you that tune in on a regular basis. We have already placed the order for the initial spots. We simply have to wait for them to be produced, and then we will begin airing them. So if you hear anything in our spots that you like or you're interested in, please do not hesitate to contact them. Not necessarily even saying you have to order, but if you'll at least listen to what it is that we're promoting, then at that point that lets them know that they've made a good choice, and we can continue to grow in our advertising base, which means we can continue to bring you great content. Because at this point, it's like I told Jared, we're going to do what we do as long as I have access to an internet connection. Nobody's going to bully us. Nobody's going to scare us away. And I don't care who they attack or how they attack them. If you're part of the K98 Talk family, whether that is through syndication or even a live broadcast, if somebody comes after you, they're going to have to deal with us. Because that's just how we roll. Which is why I wanted to deal with this live on the air during the middle of a broadcast, to call out this douche nozzle that has decided to attack one of my hosts for something that apparently she fails to understand. So, as we go to break, again, I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you, because if not for you, we would not be in the position that we are right now, and we wouldn't be to the point where we actually are starting to have ad revenue. So, and actually, I mean, we already have some ad revenue. I don't want you to make you think we haven't been making at least a little bit of money, but we are actually looking at now some actual major national level sponsors, and that is in part because of you. So, thank you very much.
We will keep this promise.
Oops,
To the American people.
Hang on a second.
If you like your doctor, you will be able to keep your doctor. Period. If you like your health care plan.
Okay, we'll do this one.
Calls, we got a pen and telephone to bypass all your laws. Political correctness will replace the Bill of Rights. Support religious freedom, lest you pray to Jesus Christ. The press is in our pockets cause there's no one free. You cannot make a move now that the NSA can see. Don't expect equality, respect, or fair play. The IRS will target those who vote the wrong way. Welcome to the play.
This is Misty, owner of Waxit Studio in Edmond, Oklahoma, and I'm here to talk to you about a skincare product called Theramedics. Theramedics has a wonderful line of products from anti-aging to hyperpigmentations all the way to acne. In fact, everyone at some point in our life is affected by acne. Acne can cause a great deal of embarrassment and anxiety, and in order to prevent and help other people, I have tapped into this wonderful product called Theramedics. Visit my website at www.prettyskindeep.com. Again, that's www.prettyskindeep.com.
Red Nation Rising brings you Town Hall Radio.
From a single tweet to 3 million a month, our community is a force to be reckoned with on social media.
So don't miss our show, Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern on K98 Talk.
Our chat room is our co-host, and you ask the question.
Join us and be heard.
So get ready to sound off on Red Nation Rising Radio. No one else is going to do it for you.
This is JD.
And this is Stacy.
Join us Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern for Game On. Remember,
lock up the children and the old folks.
Game On, the home of conservative conservatism.
Where no one is safe and no one is spared, not even the hosts.
Oh, that was supposed to be a spin cycle. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. We love you anyway. Right round, baby.
Self-monitoring
right
Ebola radio strikes again.
Anyway.
Anybody see the host monkey? Where's the host monkey? Where's the host monkey? For God's sake, I need an antidote. Just do your rant. Let's pop out of the segment.
Find us on Twitter at JD and Stacy.
You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Calls, we got a pen and telephone to bypass all your laws. Political will replace the Bill of Rights. Support religious freedom, lest you pray to Jesus Christ.
All right, folks, we're back. We're live. This is America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson, and we are now into the last show. Actually, we're down to 3 minutes at this point because I do need to shut things down a few minutes early to make room for Jared and Lou, who just spent the first half of their show with us. Our first half of my show with me. Get paid to talk for a living, and I swear sometimes I still cannot manage to pull it off. All right, so as promised, when we go into and out of commercial, until I get tired of it, we will be playing the General Lee's horn so we can give TV a great big America Off the Rails style FU. Because I know I talked about this yesterday, but I have to talk about it a little bit again today, and then we'll get into the other things that I wanted to talk about, because, you know, it fits in with the rest of the show, because Lou mentioned yellow journalism, and I have something I want to talk about with that while we're starting to wind things down. But first, I just want to say, you know, this is just stupid. You know, the Confederate flag is a piece of cloth. People can look at symbols, and that's what it is. It's a symbol, and see different things. So what happens when all of a sudden all of these groups that were oppressed by Christians during the Crusades all of a sudden start looking at things like crosses and crucifixes and say, that is a symbol of oppression to me, it should be removed? What's going to happen there? And I have a question for Warner Brothers and all these other nozzles that are all of a sudden saying, hey, we're not going to do the replicas for the General Lee anymore. We're not going to let TV Land air the show anymore. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do that. Are all of you idiots that made all of these millions of dollars off of this Confederate memorabilia, are you going to be guilty enough now that you're forced to feel like you have to give the money back? Because if so, I have some black ancestors, I'm sure, somewhere. I'll take some of that money from you. If you're going to be that stupid, then you might as well start forking over the dough. I'm just saying, because, you know, I mean, you obviously, you know, you can't keep the money because it was earned by selling something that was evil and despicable. So we have to do something about that. So you got my email address. I'll hook you up with my PayPal account. Come on, you can slide me some of that money. I won't tell anybody, but it might make you feel better. Come on. All right, so yellow journalism. There's been a lot of stuff going on lately with South Carolina and the shooting in South Carolina, and ultimately the protests and the issues with the Confederate flag and all of the flap up and the fact that it's a symbol of racism and yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that being said, there are some other stories that are going around right now, and they're going around so fast that half the time people can't even make sure they have their facts right. There are all these stories about the churches burning in South Carolina. Turns out, at least on the one that I've actually been paying attention to, there was a story that started running about how the church was set on fire and blah, 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 and yada, yada, racial attack. Turns out it was a lightning strike. It's a little hard to undo the imagery that especially when it starts blasting across the airwaves, that people are attacking churches in the South and burning them to the ground. During all of the other racial tension that we have going on right now, the fact that somebody in the same position that I hold right now as a general or programming director would come in and say, hey, you're going to run this story and we'll do a retraction later if we have to. Okay, I don't pretend to be a news organization. I don't sell this station as a news organization. I tell you that we will help keep you informed, but I tell you up front that most of what we do is based on opinion. We take stories, we read them, we tell you what we think of them, we take sound bites of the stuff that's going on in the world today, and we tell you that the world is going to hell, falling apart, and that we are all surrounded by idiots. That's my job description. And yes, I can officially say that now. That is my job description. That's what I do. That's what I get paid to do. I don't pretend to be a journalist. As I said when Jared and Lou were on with me earlier, even when I write op-eds. Because I don't want to be a journalist. I don't like fact digging. Well, actually, that's not true. I do really enjoy research. And at some point, I actually do have a few articles that I have been working on that will probably be more like actual research and articles and such. But time has not been my friend, and the majority of my time has been being spent on this stuff. And then putting out fires, like stuff that I get through an email and somebody attacking one of my people. That does not sit well with me, folks. So if you're going to do it, you might as well just come straight to me, because I'll own you and life will go on. Don't attack my people. I know, I keep coming back to that, but I gotta tell you, I've been pissed off about that all day long. The dude works for me. If you have a problem with something that he's doing, then you come to me. And I will tell you if I will either address it or tell you to go suck it. And in this case, I am giving you a hearty go suck it. But again, it all ties back together. Yellow journalism. We had people being told that churches were being burned down by arson. Now, granted, a couple of them were actually confirmed as arson, but there's conflicting reports as to whether it was arson on a vehicle that spread to the church, or if it was somebody that wanted to basically make a statement that set the fire that was ultimately involved in it, and it had really nothing to do with racial motivations. I don't know. But we will find out. And when we do, nobody will get an apology. Because that's just how journalism rolls anymore. Nobody will get an apology. What we'll get is a mess. And a nightmare. And it'll just wind up being one of those things where by tomorrow, everybody will have forgotten about it. Because we are getting really close to the 4th of July. So as of now, everybody's turning their sights on what they're going to do this weekend, where they're going to go to the lake, how many fireworks are they going to buy, how many cases of beer are they going to drink, where are they going to have their bonfire, where are we going to set off the fireworks. You know, we have so many things that we have to deal with on a daily basis. And I understand that everybody needs a break. But I have to tell you something. I don't know at this point if we can legitimately celebrate being free anymore. Case in point, the beginning of the show, a talk show host was attacked for putting an overlay of an American flag on his Facebook picture, and he was told that he did it because he's homophobic. Go back and listen to the show that Jared and I did the other day. I threw him a softball on purpose because I wanted to see what he was going to do with it. Because he and I have not had that many appearances together. I didn't talk to him about it beforehand. We didn't do any show prep. I came out and I asked him, how do you feel about this decision? And he gave me an answer. And he gave me the answer that he should give me. Because I've been upfront with every single one of you. I object to homosexuality. But I cannot hold you to that standard because it is mine. If you don't object to it, that's great. I don't judge you for partaking in it. I don't judge you for supporting it. But I will not fly a rainbow flag. I'm sorry, as far as my faith is concerned, that symbol represents one thing. And that's God's promise to never flood the earth again. It is again something that has been hijacked. Just like they've now hijacked the flag, the Confederate flag. Now they're trying to hijack the American flag. Because if you're flying that flag and you're not flying the rainbow flag, because, you know, it was Pride Week and then the Supreme Court decision, so obviously, if you're not flying the rainbow flag, then you're a homophobe. And especially if you're flying an American flag when you should be flying the rainbow flag by putting it over your profile, then you're a homophobe. Every last one of you that always think every little frickin' thing in life has to do with you, please exit now. This doesn't have anything to do with you. Not everything is about the gay agenda. And yes, I said it, there is an agenda. If you think that the equal rights movement for the homosexual community is going to stop now that they have them, you are sorely mistaken. Because this isn't just about equal treatment for them. Because there is, among that small minority, an even smaller minority that have felt like they've been under thumb for forever. Which is why you now see all of these stories popping up about people that are going to start trying to sue churches to make sure they're forced to marry them. You have certain churches that have already decided they're just going to fold and say, yeah, we're okay with it. You know what? That's their choice. And I'm not faulting them for that. If a church wants to come out and say, hey, you know, maybe as far as we're concerned, some people are reading the Bible wrong and we're just going to let God figure it out later. So, hey, we're going to go ahead and not only, now that you guys can get married, we're willing to do the ceremonies. You know, that's what it should be, but that's not where it's going to stop. It never does. Because until they can go anywhere they want and walk in and get anything that they feel a straight couple is entitled to, they're not going to be done. So you mark my words. Right now, 6:43 p.m., July 2nd, 2015, on a Thursday, I am telling you that religious oppression, and no, I did not say Christian oppression, so let's get that clear right now. Religious oppression is coming soon. I don't know which religion will ultimately assume dominance. I have a pretty good idea. But I can tell you that the majority of religions will soon come under attack. Religions will soon come under attack. Because they don't have a choice. As long as people use their moral standards to, even if we do so in our own privacy, and even if we do so and simply tell you, hey, we don't judge you, but we don't think you should be doing what you're doing, and especially not in front of my nieces and nephews and my grandchildren, then, you know, I have a problem with the fact that you guys think it's okay. Because I don't care, gay, straight, purple, pink with polka dots. If you're going to do that stuff in public, I don't want to see it. Especially when I have children with me. Because I don't want to have to explain to children that some people deserve to have water hoses sprayed at them until they separate. Because they have raging hormones. I understand. I was young once too. And I didn't understand the impact that the things that I was doing had. The problem is, every step of the way, the youth have to push it that much further. And I understand that is part of how we're wired. That is part of the big problem that we have going on right now, is in some ways we have stopped doing that, and now we do it in all the wrong directions. We don't push the envelope technologically anymore. We don't push the envelope performance-wise anymore. We're too busy trying to push the envelope artistically or expression-wise. We don't do the things that we used to do to put those needs to expand, to make things different, to push as far as we could go. We don't put those to good use anymore. They've become destructive. Now each generation of artists push the envelope that much further as to what can be acceptable in music, what can be acceptable in television, what can be acceptable in print, what can be acceptable in painting. I mean, I don't understand anymore. I really don't. Because the simple fact of the matter is, we as a country are falling apart. We are falling apart by design. And unfortunately, our government and our journalism folks are helping us fall apart. And that is saddening to me. I know, I keep coming back to it, but again, it all ties together. This was Yahoo freaking News. Not the little paper that I write for. This was Yahoo News that basically attacked someone for expressing patriotism and turned it into a homophobic argument. because he wanted to express how proud he is of his country, how much he loves his country, how much he respects the country and what she is supposed to stand for. I submit to you today, she does not stand for those things anymore. I submit to you today that she probably hasn't stood for those things in at least 20 years or more. And it may even go further back than that. As much as it pains me to say that, at this point, I am telling you that everything is happening today is happening by design, and it's been something that's been in play for a very, very long time. This was supposed to be the era of unitedness because we elected the first black president ever. And now everyone attacks everybody. The white community's under attack, the black community's under attack, the Hispanic community's under attack. It doesn't matter. If we're different, everybody's attacking everybody. You know, there was more racism in the 80s, but I think we were more comfortable with it back then because we could actually joke around with each other about it back then. You don't believe me? Go look at some of the old Saturday Night Live skits from when Richard Pryor and Chevy Chase were on there. They're some of the raunchiest things you're ever going to hear without violating any FCC laws or pushing the envelope, but they still get the point across that, hey, we have to be able to laugh at one another. We have to realize that there are stupid people out there that are going to twist anything and everything that they can. So if we take everything away that anybody can possibly twist, we're not going to have anything left. That is not what this country is about. It's not about who can make the biggest flap over who does what to a profile picture. It's not about who can make the biggest flap about not selling a car anymore because it has a Confederate flag painted on the top of it. It's not about the fact that not running a TV show anymore that's been around for freaking 40 years or more at this point, because we're not going to run it anymore because it has a Confederate flag on the top of it. I don't understand who we have become, and I'm terrified of what we are becoming. Because we used to be the folks that would stand up and do what needed to be done and make sure that at the end of the day, this country was a shining beacon to the rest of the world. So I ask you today, 48 hours from the day that we celebrate our independence, is this country what you expected it to be when you were younger, now that you're not? Because this hurts to say. This really hurts to say. But much like Michelle Obama with her statement of, for the first time ever, I'm proud to be an American, I'm feeling the reverse. Because I don't understand what we're doing anymore. I've had the Lee Greenwood song playing in my head all day long today. Maybe because one of the local hosts here actually interviewed him, because apparently he's got a children's book that's out now. But I've had his song playing in my head all day long today. Just the chorus. I mean, I know it well enough that I could probably let more of it play if I wanted to. But the problem is, the more I heard that song, and the more I wanted it to do what it always does, which is uplift me, it doesn't do that anymore. Because I'm not proud to be an American right now. And before anybody says anything, this does not have a damn thing to do with the Supreme Court's ruling on gay marriage. It has everything to do with everything else. Our politicians attack one another to score points. Each group attacks another group to score more points. And we are stuck in the middle, a group of people that actually give a damn about what happens to this country, watching it burn, and there's not a damn thing we can do about it. And I'm tired of feeling helpless. The good news is that I know me. And I know that soon enough, the despair that I'm feeling is going to turn to anger. And that anger will turn to motivation. And I tell you now, the same thing I tell you as I bring every other show to a close. These are dark times. These are scary times, especially if you are an American that believes that the Constitution is not a birdcage liner, that it should not be being used as toilet paper, and we shouldn't have... Oh God, I just remembered this. We shouldn't have folks like James Lankford, who says he's a conservative, posting articles about how the TPP is good for America. James Lankford, you are a representative of this state of Oklahoma, now officially a senator of the state of Oklahoma, and you should be ashamed of yourself for making that statement. You have the gall, the audacity to write an article that says the TPP is good for America. I asked you this on Facebook. You haven't responded to me yet. I tagged you in it, so I know at least somebody saw it, but you haven't. Nobody from your organization or your group or your staffers or whatever has bothered to reply. So I'm going to ask you on air, because I know for a fact you listen to the show, because I've been told. How can you, sitting in your ivory tower in D.C., now that you are a lofted senator, sell this state down the damn river? Not only this state, but this nation down the river. These are dockable agreements. This means it's a majority vote once it passes, and no matter who votes, if enough people vote, no matter who wants to get in, they're going to be able to get in. And you have the gall to tell me this is good for America because it's going to help our trade? What, do you want to bring slave labor back? Do you want to bring human trafficking back to the forefront everywhere? Because that's what you're doing. So, James Lankford, I ask you this question live on the air today. You tell me how this is good for America. You are more than welcome, if you have the nerve, to contact me. You can reach me at email multiple places. One is Rick at K98talk.org. The other is Ricky at thesparkradionetwork.com. You can reach me at either one. Feel free to shoot me an email. We'll set up a time for you to come on air, and you can tell everybody exactly why you think the TPP is a good idea. But until you can convince me that there's something about this that I don't know, that all of a sudden makes this some sort of a magic panacea for our ills, you, sir, are full of crap. So again, as I close the show, these are dark times, and I can honestly say that for the first time in my life, when I hear I'm proud to be an American, because at least I know I'm free, the only thing I keep hearing in my own head is I'm not proud to be an American, and freedom is a myth. It wasn't once, and it may not be again, but we have to do something about it. You may ask, how are we going to do something about it? It's pretty simple. There are lots of grassroots organizations out there. I don't even care if you disagree with 95% of what just came out of my mouth. Find a politician that you can support that actually tells you and that they're going to do things and then does what they actually say they're going to do. And support them. Knock on doors. Make phone calls. Make donations. Speaking of which, J.D. Winteregg, look him up. Send him a donation. He's the only primary for Boner. And we've got to get rid of Boner. Alright, folks, I'm going to have to knock out of here for the night. I do want to thank everybody for coming on with me today. Jared, I just want to give another shout out to you, my brother. Like I said, do not sweat it, my friend, because as long as I have the ability to flip a switch and get us on the air, you are not going anywhere, and they can't make me put you anywhere. Alright, folks, that is going to do it for this particular episode of America Off the Rails. Again, a big shout out and thank you to every single one of our listeners, because thanks to you, great things are happening and we will continue to grow. I'll be back with you tomorrow.
Screw you guys. I'm going home. Later. Game over, man. It's game over.